Yeah.
Okay, we now have a quorum. I'll call the meeting to order. First on the agenda is to review the MOU by union and the county for the referral program. Mr. Bergman, would you like to touch base on that? It got withdrawn at the board meeting and brought back. I think there was some confusion as to who it pertained to, as far as who was in the union, who wasn't in the union.
Yes, thank you. There is a contemplated memorandum of agreement with the CSTA, both years, to award bargaining unit employees, both on the hospital side and the county side, a recruitment bonus if they refer a candidate to certain classifications in the hospital, and those candidates are actually hired and retained for a period of, I think it's 6 months. There was some confusion at the last meeting. I apologize. It was on a vacation day, but the question is, should there be exclusions contained in the memorandum for people who it doesn't apply to? And I don't think we should include stipulations about non-union in a memorandum that deals with the union. So their business, they go negotiating with those people and not discuss them. So if we're going to say, for example, directors are ineligible to receive this bonus, they're not part of the union, and the union has no say whether we decide to give Schedule D or something or not. So the business, and I don't want to include that in any negotiated document.
Well, I think what happened is, I think Gabby mentioned, I think she was thinking that some of those people, the deans and whatever else up there were in this, would be affected with this.
My understanding is that recruitment, they had a position for recruiting nurses, I forget the title of it.
Yeah,
That, they asked if that person was excluded from this policy, and
Right,
it's
so-
not in here, it doesn't
Yeah,
specify.
one is in the second bargaining unit, which is Schedule E, which is euphemistically called the supervisory unit, would they be included or excluded? And none of those people have hiring or decision-making power. They don't hire, they don't fire, they don't recommend. They're supervisors. Okay. So they have an impact on making decisions. So I think that they should probably be included. The current vacant nurse recruiter position, if filled, would be a management position and would be excluded because that's their job. And it would be ridiculous to pay them.
they would be, and they would be union.
Well, it depends. We haven't filled the job. And it hasn't been determined one way or the other. The vision would be that it would
I
be.
think they actually determined, I think it is statute, salaries. So, city salaries.
Yeah, but we don't have a person, we haven't met, we haven't found a person qualified to do the work yet. So it's moved at this point because there's nobody there.
The policies reflect what the intention is, not like down the road, if you hire somebody, then come back into your policy. Policy should, if we're gonna adopt it, should be reflective of all of that now.
Yes, so the vision is that hospital administration, human resources, elected officials, and directors who have hiring authority or influence would not be eligible to receive this bonus. That's the main.
That's what they're asking, to have that language included in this policy.
Which it certainly can be. I still feel that it's none of the union's business who is included or excluded. And to put that language and those stipulations in a document that I'm negotiating with the union is inappropriate. We can put that language someplace else in whatever, no minutes or notes or something, that's fine. But I don't want to engage with the union about compensation for you, guys, or for myself. It's not appropriate to discuss that with the union. And to get it,
Should there be a separate standalone policy then that speaks to this MOU?
possibly, that would be a possible way to go. But that's one line. Now, if you disagree, that's fine. But I don't think we should be engaging with the union to discuss terms and conditions and compensation of non-union members.
So I think that's what the chairwoman's intention was,
Yeah,
in the conversations that I had.
that's the reason why I wanted to do it.
So this MOU here is just for the union employees and nobody else, nobody else, it's just the ones in the union that are not in the hiring supervisory.
There are no union employees who make offers, by definition.
So,
Even if their job title may lead one to do, otherwise, they don't have authority to make these questions. The only employees of the county that does not necessarily address is union employees represented by the sheriff's. And the sheriff's unions have not approached me being interested in this at all. So if and when they do, we can talk.
okay, so yeah, maybe then we do need something that states that the non-union people will not be in this agreement, or
Like there's a separate standalone policy and then
they're not going to
Well,
receive it.
I
Because otherwise they're gonna think they could.
yeah, I think that this, we should discuss schedule S people, for example, who do not have hiring authority, who are not in a union, but may make a referral. That's possible. Right now, there's no provision to do anything for them because that's outside the purview of this MOU. And if we do that, that can be handled as a suggestion in a policy. But, you know, that segment of our population is currently not covered with this idea. But again, the memorandum was laser targeted only at union representative, CFPA union representative. Yeah.
I know when you fill out the applications, it says where you heard about the job. How many are there that hear about it from?
It's fewer and fewer, mainly because of our internet advertising, our job postings on the county website, the hospital Facebook page, the Indeed page. So it used to be that we would have more word of mouth referral. Now it's less than it used to be.
You see it being a problem at all, like 3 friends are talking to someone like, oh, I should apply, and then, oh, I get them to apply.
Oh, we're gonna have to play King Solomon. I don't know how to do it. I get a question.
Well, you're gonna apply, tell them that I sent you, because then I get a bonus and I'll share it with you.
I think you're right. I think that there's a way to gain.
I just wondered how much it's gonna cost. That was my only concern.
That's a risk. And no question about it. And when the hospital asked me to negotiate this with the union, I discussed that very question with the hospital leadership. And I said, there's a way to gain this. And in their mind, the risk was worth it because the replacing a contracted nurse
What about
was
it?
so valuable that the pittance that we'd be paying for recruitment would be, the ROI would be.
So how many employees do we hire at a hospital in a year?
Well, we're only talking about bedside people for the bonus here, so we're only talking about nurses, LPNs and CNAs. And the last.
Those are the targeted positions and
That's it.
okay, and what,
Be lucky.
how many are
How many do we hire? How many vacancies?
I don't know.
Well, if we were successful in filling all of the vacancies, most reclassifications is about 30, 40 years. It changes every day.
I just know pittance to hospitals different than pittance to. That's all I'm saying.
When I say it, I don't mean vacancies in total, I mean comparison between what we're paying a contractor and what we would pay an employee. We pay a contractor triple the hourly wage and we'd be paying a bargaining unit employee. So we could trade 3 for 1 and break even because of the high price of contractors in those nursing classifications right now. The last time I saw the numbers, which admittedly was a month ago, we were spending close to $800,000 a month in above budget in contracted labor at the hospital for nurses. It's killing us. And anything that we can do to trade out those contractors for regular employees is a win. On a whole bunch of levels, because they have skin in the game, they have commitment to our community, they have commitment to
So
our.
if you got those 3 positions, that what you were saying was 3 targeted positions.
That's it. That's it.
So Becky, just to bring you up to speed, because I know that this was your grandchild, right? From she was eligible to receive.
Yes and no.
any funds, and who would not be eligible. And Dan suggested that maybe there be a standalone policy that identifies those people that would be excluded from being able to receive the policy. And then the MOU was negotiated with the union as to who, as far as like representative employees would be eligible to receive that. So that's kind of where we are.
Okay, so 2 separate things, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah, and I also handed to our committee chair some bullet points that Ellen, I had shared this with the group, I don't know if everybody remembers it. But Ellen had about 4 bullet points that she wanted asked, so.
I just wanted some. What a recruitment is for a FTE less than a 1. Does this apply to appoint 2 positions?
You know.
Would it be prorated?
And you're not, if they're not a full-time employee, they're only. And then we've discussed the language. So if they. So is it prorated then if they only hire, if they recommended the person only gets hired as a half-time person instead of a full-time person, do they only earn half the bonus or do they still get it?
Well,
I guess that's her question.
it's definitionally, anyone who is 0.5 or below is excluded because they're not a member of the union.
Okay.
Okay.
That language should maybe be in.
Well, it's in the collective bargaining. So,
Yeah.
so, well, it could be, that the MOU only pertains to those people covered by the collective bargaining agreement. And by definition, if 0.5 or below, we're not. in the union. So, it would not apply to them, by definition. If you were 0.6 or above, theoretically, we could do a probation, but none of the decisions that we're targeting are those, they're all full-time. But we could add a 0.6 or above probation or that's one.
Sounds good. Vanessa, did you have?
I just think we're spending a lot of time on this and I really don't think it's going to have a whole lot of fruit to it, because if I was a nurse on the floor and we were short, I would already be telling my friends, come work for me with me because it's gonna eliminate my job. But also if I was a nurse on the floor and my friend wanted to come here, I would say, go be a traveling nurse because they'll sign you here and we will make more money. I just, any place I've worked where there's been a bonus of recruitment, it doesn't really come into fruition to a whole lot of of bodies in the seats.
I don't disagree with you. I think the thinking, I don't want to speak on behalf of the leadership of the hospital, but in my conversations with them, they want to throw anything against the wall
Exactly.
that might really stick. And then they will hold a, you know,
I think the hospital likes to throw a lot of things. I don't know that. I'm not against this thing. I just don't think I think we're spending a lot of time on something that's gonna bring no fruit to the table.
I don't expect it to result.
It's not gonna fix our problem with traveling nurses and that price. It's not gonna do it.
You're right,
I think they need to spend a whole lot more time worrying about getting that nursing recruiter in there and doing that fee to have someone dedicated to doing this. We're throwing a whole lot of money out for employees that are not including anything from advertisements to Indeed to all of that, and we're not getting it. So if our saving grace is that recruiter, we need to spend more time worrying about the recruiter than a memorandum to throw some change in people when they send a friend in the door. It's my take on the whole thing.
We else have any questions? And they have want to move forward with this program to do this and with the addition of the other. The other.
I've discussed this with the union there, is actually in agreement, and they're ready and willing to sign the memorandum. So with your advice, I will move forward and ask them to do that, and I'll bring it back. We're final approval of the sign.
So no action this month, we'll take action next month.
You don't want to move it?
But you have to move it for him to go ahead, right?
Well, I mean, I don't have a signed, a tentatively signed document. I have their verbal, and I have a okay if
We don't have anything to move.
You can give him permission to proceed, but
And bring back the other policy with it.
yeah.
No, it's a stopgap. And but, you know, audience, and
I think that's a no face.
Well, the other thing I would do is make it retroactively effective.
okay,
I mean,
so they know if there's a chance that we get even one. And I agree.
we could potentially move it to the floor from here as long as the language in the MOU was agreeable to your vision.
I'll bring it to the board of managers to ask her. And
So I mean, it's what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks from today?
Mhm.
That would be the better way.
So you want a motion to move to the floor?
With.
I can make it effective October 1st, for example. And the reality of it is, this is not going to create some avalanche of hiring.
I know. I think there's some time on it, just.
One more box.
Okay, I have a motion by Supervisor Kale to move this forward to the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. Next on the agenda. Is that resolution. 7 of them. Is anybody familiar with any of them? I did not. Expect.
So I think, Ben and I had a conversation over number 3 and the current judgment interest rate hovers somewhere around 9%. They're talking about reducing that to 2%. And that would be in our favor. Number 4 kind of speaks for itself. Actually, I think number 2 speaks for itself as well.
mhm. Madam Clerk, which committee did these come out of
Oh,
at NICEAG?
all over the place.
Or were they?
And I can point out Number two came out of intergovernmental affairs. Number three, intergovernmental, number four was also intergovernmental affairs. They were all over.
Yeah, they weren't in the sessions that I had attended, the ag.
When I go through,
Ag
they
and
don't
rural.
necessarily align with our committees, so I put them in the committees that I think make the most sense.
Okay,
Number 5, they want to give people more bonuses. Very different. I'm not getting that.
They gotta read the resolution. Importance, civil service reform is something that everybody's screaming for, right?
Did you send this out?
They're all attached, they all have links.
I didn't see it.
Jen, calling on the state of New York, fully joint county law 18, because I can council statutory pay laws, right? Yep.
Love that.
Yeah.
I'm guessing we're not gonna get it, but.
Okay, by all.
Yeah, I guess you can.
And I don't know how the one on the airports is gonna impact like the Warsaw area airport, but we'll take that. Oh, right? So there's really only one that you may want to read in full, but these were all resolutions that were passed at the business meeting that last morning
Yeah.
unanimously. Yep. Yep.
Madam Chair, I would move 2 through 8.
Okay, so the motion is already moved to 8. And I will get my hands on for the final.
Well, actually, it's cooler than
That's right, I won't read it. That's- Before I go down. So is there any other questions? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, Cindy.
I agree to this month's measurement. Updates, the portrait of Judge James E. Norton will be going for restoration at the Aurora Art Conservation. That's the one project I'm working on with Judge Mullen to get all the judges' portraits restored and put back in the courtroom. So I'll be dropping that off to Eileen sometime in October. And the signs finally came in. The last one I was waiting for the National Women's Vote Trail is finally in, so our highway guys will be installing the 3 this week. And then I've been in constant contact with the Castle Library and the gentleman from the Wyoming Village Hall and the highway man from Village of Warsaw, so they can like plan some kind of event. The dedication before it happens, like get it in the newspaper before it happens, so people can actually go. So there'll be, if you drive around, you see black bags under 3 signs, that's what they are, because we don't want them to feel until they have their dedication ceremony, so. And I guess I have an FYI. Every Village Hall being considered for the historic, National State Register of Historic Places. When somebody else independently does it in a town or village, I never know about it until after it's done anyway. They always send me a letter. But if you ever want to know, there is a online database, you can look up everything that's in the county. And we also have a file in our office, we keep all the letters. So once in a while, I got to pull my copy and give them to anyone who you have to prove, hey, is that Tuesday? Sometimes it can come, we need to know funding, so we do get copies of letters. Any questions for anybody? No? All righty.
Thank
See you in that one.
Let's just stick with the agenda and then latest month they have done it. I'll say that.
All right, then you want to do the items that you have that. Have you required?
Okay, so the FYI to discuss the budget and maybe any questions on the county attorney's budget. I don't know. I'm here and I'm doing the best I can with my first budget and we're working on that. In regard to what you guys just asked from the, regarding the ATV, I am gonna be coming in, we were emailing with Janice, we have some money in different accounts because there's assigned council appeals accounts and there's assigned council criminal account, there's the assigned council family account and all that. And Janice said instead of moving money around right now, we actually asked for an appropriation because we have vouchers in and we don't have enough money in the accounts that they go for. So
I mean, if you have it in total, or if you have that amount in total for the rest of the year,
you don't, right, because I don't think it's gonna come in, so now, so, but the budgeted for, what has come in for this month is $5,676.06 in family court and $3,025.50 in criminal court. And I don't have that much money in family court. I do have that enough in criminal court, you know, to pay for this one, but you know, am I gonna have enough for the rest of the year? Or, no, probably not. So that's coming, I'll be working with Janice to figure out what to ask for. And again, that's at the rate that it is now. If they do bump up that rate, like we've talked about in the past and double it, then, you know, obviously we'll have to address that. But certainly the state would be lovely to pay for that if they're gonna bump up the rate to twice as much, so hopefully that will happen.
Sharon, how much did you say for family court? 56,
For today, $5,676.06. And for criminal, $3,025.50.
well, we're gonna appropriate a lot more.
All right, so we're not doing it for anything.
Well, we're not-
I have finance, kind of slap it under down, right, really. So I'll bring it to finance, but I just wanted her to kind of look that up.
Yes, and I anticipate that we are not gonna need the $2,650 that I currently have sitting in the family court appeals. Because there's nobody scheduled to argue between now and the end of the year, so I shouldn't be getting any back there. So that should be able to be, you know, moved, but, you know, no crystal ball.
Yeah.
All that good stuff, so. For number 2, I'm going to go to the winter meeting for the county attorneys. And I'm asking for that travel authorization. I need to add mileage, because I don't think it's typed in here, but I'll take my personal car. The registration fee is $100 for the meeting and $75 to do the AD course. Hotel room 199, it's all been budgeted in our budget.
I have a motion to, Supervisor Hale. All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Carried. And the third one is John.
Yes, it's because of the same day travel, like I say, they don't need to do that, so, but Mr. Degnan's gonna go and go to the Raise the Age, program that they're having in Syracuse, since he does multi-energy. And that's what I have for now, and then I'll be returning client at the end.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Bergerman, do you have anything that doesn't need executive?
Yes, I can talk about other things. Matters that are personnel, compensation, performance, and legal updates that. diversified. I want to advise you that several department heads have come and asked me to partner with the IT department and collaborate in the creation of a social media usage policy for both the hospital and the county to formulate rules and regulations on how employees should interact with social media with regards to their employment and postings that deal with work-related matters and identifying themselves as county employees. It's a legal minefield, to be honest with you, so we're working to develop that policy and we get it, I can share with you. The EAP report for the month is contained in your package, and that is self-explanatory. If you have any questions, please let me know. As well as the civil service update for the month of September. Also, if you have any questions, I can answer them. I also want to give you an update on the status of the New York State Healthcare Worker Bonus plan. By way of summary, Governor Hochul and the legislature announced a bonus opportunity for forward-facing healthcare workers and disseminated a rather exhaustive list of job classifications of employees who qualify for a bonus total no more than $1,500. It broke up into two sections of qualifies eligibility windows, and employees can apply for two of those five. The first one closed 2 weeks ago. Their payment is to come from New York State to us, commingled with our Medicare, Medicaid payments that come through on a monthly basis. Once we receive money, then need to break it apart, allocate it to the individual employees who qualify, and then pay that to them through payroll. And it'll be subjected to tax. We were notified last week that a check was, or a payment was coming this week. And then Friday, we were notified that that was not going to happen, and it's not going to happen until the first week in October. Once we actually receive the funds, we have 30 days to disseminate them to employees. So that's kind of an update on that. There is a little bit of controversy surrounding some individuals who do not qualify. The decision for qualification is not mine, it's not the counties, it's not the hospitals, it's the states. And they fail to qualify because definitionally, they're not forward-facing patient care individuals working in that building. So we have a handful, I would say a dozen of us, people who have registered their displeasure that they're not included. Nothing included. So to give you a heads up on that. And I do have an update for you on the reorganizational activities and employees impacted, but I'll do that in executive session. Questions? Yes.
I didn't want to comment. I just got an email or a text from Bill Sykes on the DCS conversion for the charter.
Yes.
Just got a quote of $2,500. So that was less than what we assumed, wasn't it?
That's a lot less than I expected it to be, but I trust Bill to set the parameters, and that's really his bailiwick. He and I are also talking with Munis about the go live date for the Munis payroll side, which we're hoping can happen next month. We're really close. We're running duplicate right now, and we think we're real close. That's good news.
Any other questions? Okay, I guess we have to do the board of elections. And we can go into the. Board of elections have. And the nearest state board of election. One meeting under the considered by the funds paid for numbers, grants, and balance next to the operations. $16,860. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, next we will go into client. Attorney privilege. Good to see you, shut up. You want to just do the client, the first you.
We're just a small county. I can't imagine. You know,
And I agree with you. I don't do it.
yeah, because it's just.
President Moore, all in favor?
I,
Carried. We are now in executive session as Cheryl is us taking that.
and you know, we can't. You know. Show on TV, meeting, all of us saying, we have no clue.
I have